Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Fall Prevention. I'm Ann Church with Villages of Santa Fe, and this is Katie Titus. She is physical therapist at CHRISTUS, and we welcome you. Let us know where you're from. I see a bunch of people that I already know. Dee, hello, how are you? Yeah, I see Shelly's come in. There's Elva. Yep, we've got a good group. So this is fun. This is our quarterly fall prevention program sponsored by AARP. We had a little glitch on their side, so you may have gotten a personal email from me this morning with your link. We're trying to work out a few things with them. Hey, from Missouri and Pastor Robles. We're here in Santa Fe, New Mexico. It's a beautiful summer day. We're lucky because August is one of our most beautiful months here. We have a lot of flowers blooming, and where everybody else is like crushing heat, we're in great shape. We live outdoors in the summertime. Oh, welcome. We'll get started in a few minutes, but let us know where you're from. And we want to let you know that if you would like to join our exercise classes with Villages of Santa Fe, we have a Welcome Wellness Pass that gives you access to 5 free classes a month. You're welcome to take advantage of that. It's on our website. Also, this program is being recorded. And we will have this up probably, let's see, this is Tuesday, by Thursday. And it'll be on our homepage. If you'll go down and scroll down to blogs, it'll be in the blog. You can just click on the blog and then the video will be there. So if you want to share anything with other friends, or if you would like to just watch again some of the portions of the program itself. So again, welcome. I'm Ann Church. I'm with Villages of Santa Fe. And Katie Titus is with CHRISTUS St. Vincent's here in Santa Fe as well. She's part of our fall prevention program. We're probably going to have a pretty good group today. So what we're going to do is start off with some ideas and some myths about falls. In the middle, what we're going to do, we're going to do a little break and stand up and do a sit to stand risk assessment. And then we'll go on into other topics about fall prevention. Just want to let you know if you are in the Santa Fe area, Villages and CHRISTUS is hosting their annual Falls Free Checkup on Wednesday, September 24th at the hospital. And it'll be from 9 to 1 a.m. And we will having risk assessment stations. Katie's setting all of those up for us. There'll be pharmacology, audiology. Maria Francis and Judith will be doing classes, so you can actually exercise during that. And we actually will be having then presentations on how to prevent falls. So welcome this morning. We'll get started now, and then everybody can jump in later on and give us their ideas about how to prevent falls and what might be happening around their home that might be causing falls. So again, one of our ideas about fall prevention is we really want to invest in everybody's individual health because fall prevention is individual. There's no magic bullet, there's no pill, there's no big center where you can go to prevent falls. You have to do that internally. And what we try to do with our exercise programs is make that as fun and as enjoyable as possible and accessible as well. So Villages of Santa Fe provides age-appropriate live online and in-person classes focusing on balance, strength, and flexibility. And all of those are important for fall prevention. And what we're talking about now, rather than fall prevention, we're talking about fall resilience because we want people to be resilient and we want you to be able to be comfortable in your own home and be part of our whole community on preventing falls. Because when we invest in our own individual health or somebody else's health, then you're investing in your community as well and helping your community. So this workshop is designed to reduce the fear of falling and increase activity levels. Falling is a vicious cycle. And once you've fallen, it's very, very common that you're going to fall again. We also want to talk about the myths of falls. We're going to give you some fall statistics because if you know the what happens with falls as far as the resources that they take, not only monetarily, but with your family and the community, it's very important to know. We'll talk about some bad habits that increase your chance of falling. What causes falls? Again, the myths about falling, some people think, well, I just fall. Well, there are many other things that can cause falls. Then we'll talk about your risk level and how to judge it, what to do if you do fall. And this is about a 90-minute program with Q&A after the program. So our team today, again, my name is Ann Church. I'm the founder, executive director of Villages of Santa Fe. I'm also a master trainer for the Department of Health in evidence-based fall prevention programs. Katie Titus, good morning, Katie. She is a physical therapist and she's the clinical supervisor of inpatient rehab at our local regional hospital, CHRISTUS St. Vincent's. And we have other people on our team as well, Maria Francis, that many of you know, and Bernadette Romero Jamarillo, who is also with CHRISTUS. So Katie.
All right, sorry, I was unmuting myself. Good morning, everybody. Again, I'm Katie Titus. I'm the clinical supervisor for the therapists in our inpatient rehab unit here in Santa Fe, New Mexico. We're going to be talking about exercise and some other factors to reduce your risk of falling. The importance of exercise can't be understated in terms of your ability to prevent a fall or to recover from a fall if you do incur one. So we're going to talk about the importance of all 4 types of physical activity: endurance, strength, balance, and flexibility. Some barriers to exercise, why people are reluctant to exercise. I'm one of them. I'm a physical therapist who doesn't like exercise, but I know it's important for me, so I do it. We're going to talk about some safety tips, both for how you can modify your house, different devices you might use to make yourself safer at home, some other contributing factors to falls, including how medications can affect your risk for falling, the importance of making sure that you're getting regular vision and hearing checkups, and how nutrition can impact your risk for falls. And then we're going to discuss some home safety and gadgets for better living. So the impact of falls on quality of life. So with or without an injury, a fall can carry a heavy impact on the quality of your life. Older adults may fear falling and as a result limit their activities and social engagements. This is the vicious cycle we're talking about. People have a fear of falling. They tend to move less. That results in decreased muscle strength, balance, walking, flexibility problems. That reduces their ability to function in society. They move less even more. They may have another fall and it starts the cycle all over again. So of patients who are hospitalized for a fall-related injury, 35% of those may be readmitted for the fall-related injury and 5% will die within a month. So this is a big deal. That's why we find it important to talk about this topic quarterly. So according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, more than 1 out of 4 Americans over the age of 65 falls annually. That's a quarter. Falls are the leading cause of fatal and non-fatal injuries among older adults.
So we can talk about the myths about falling, and this is one of the things we like to emphasize so you can get your mindset around why you can prevent falls. So the myth about falling happens to other people, not me. Well, I've fallen. I'm doing multitasking. I'm walking on what we call the sidewalk of tears in Santa Fe, and I miss my step and I fall. And it happens to you. So but the good thing is if you work and you exercise at it, you can get the power to recover from your fall. Falling is something normal that happens as you get older. And although older adults do fall, it is not a given that you will fall. If I limit my activity, I won't fall. Oh, no, that is not one. The more active you are, the less likely you are to fall and less likely you are to have an injury from a fall. As long as I stay at home, I can avoid falling. But I think, Katie, 70% of falls happen in the home. And I think even what's the percentage in the bathroom? I mean, it's just like
huge, 90.
90% happen in the bathroom.
Yeah.
So, when we think about making our house safer, we really want to talk about, things in your bathroom and being cautious. Right now, I'm on crutches because I'm having hip surgery in a couple of months, and I cannot walk without them, and I have to be super cautious about what's going on. Muscle strength and flexibility can't be regained. That is not true. It's amazing. If you start an exercise program, in 30 days, you're going to see, and I'm not talking about once a week, we're talking about 3 times a week because the CDC recommends 150 minutes a week in exercise. You will regain muscle strength and flexibility, and you'll be amazed at how much more flexible you are. The other thing we'll talk about here is medication. Medication can be very important in preventing falls and also vision as well. We'll talk about that whole idea. So assistance devices, using a walker or cane will make me more dependent. It'll actually give you more flexibility and more stability, it'll be more stable, and that's going to make you safer. And it just doesn't make you more dependent. I don't need to talk to my family members or healthcare providers if I'm concerned about my risk of falling. I don't want to alarm them, and I'll keep my independence. Well, as we say, fall resilience is a team effort. It takes communication with your family, it takes communication with your providers, with your primary care provider, with your doctors. It takes communication with your pharmacist. It takes communication with the people who do your vision tests. So think about that, because talking and being confident in your wishes and what you would like to have your life look like is very important as we age.
All right, so some national statistics. So unintentional falls are the leading cause of injury and injury-related death among older adults over the age of 65 in the US and in New Mexico, where we live. $50 billion are spent a year on medical costs in the US just related to falls, and they're largely preventable. Again, these are the most common cause of injuries to the brain, accounting for 46% of fatal falls among older adults. Brain injuries are no fun. I can speak from experience working in a rehab center.
Yeah, Katie, you see those injuries and those brain injuries, and
I do.
they can be really, really devastating. And so many people think, well, you fall, you break your hip. They don't consider that fact of the brain injury. And we're going to talk about that later, because it is crucial to understand and really critical to understand when you need to go to the hospital to be checked out if you've fallen and hit your head.
That's right.
So,
Go
yeah.
ahead. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Since we're in New Mexico, we talk about the falls here in New Mexico, and our falls, because we're a rural state, are really significantly higher, about 12% higher than the national average. We're working with that one-on-one with these fall prevention programs, with our exercise programs, to get this statistic down. And you can see that it has been going down since 2007.
So when we talk about balance problems, we've got 3 primary sensory systems that contribute to our understanding of where our body is in space. So adults rely primarily on their vision for balance. That's the sense that we rely on the most to know where we are in space. Proprioception is a word that means what position is my body in inherently without me having to look at it to see. So the example I use for proprioception is if you're walking up a hill, if you've got intact proprioception, your ankles, your knees, your hips are going to send messages to your brain to say, hey, we need to bring it up a notch because we're walking up a hill and we're not getting the right angles of movement to clear each step. So people who don't have good proprioception have a tendency to trip over things. They might, turn quickly and catch their foot on something and not be able to adjust and pick it up quickly enough to recover. Your vestibular system is frequently thought of as your inner ear. It's also related to your brain. So your vestibular system senses rotational forces and acceleration and deceleration. So we think of car sickness, we think of of being on a roller coaster, a ride, and feeling dizzy or feeling spinny. That's how your vestibular system contributes to your sense of where you are in space.
And Katie, there are a couple of situations where I've had dizziness and just constant, and it's just been really hard to get rid of. And you just have to be so cautious about that because if you get up suddenly, you can just clunk over, you
Yeah,
know?
and it's usually treatable. So if you're experiencing this, don't think that this is a normal thing for us to experience as we're getting older, especially if you're feeling a sense of spinning. That's not normal. It's common, but it's not normal. It's something that should be addressed either by an audiologist, a physical therapist, or a physician. So just know that if that's something you're experiencing with movement, it's worth getting it looked at because it can definitely lead to a fall. So some things to ask yourself in terms of your balance. Do I feel unsteady? You know, there are a lot of words that my patients as a physical therapist use to describe how they're feeling balanced or unbalanced. Unsteadiness is something I hear sometimes. Do I feel as if the room is spinning around me? Some patients will say, like, I feel spinning or I feel drunk. I've heard, like, I'm sensing motion even though I'm not moving. Have I actually lost my balance and fallen? Do I currently feel as if I'm falling? Again, that may be related to an improper signal from your vestibular system if you're sensing movement even though you're not moving. Do I feel lightheaded as though I might faint?
I've lost Katie for a minute here. Hopefully she'll be back in a minute, but I'll just continue with this. Do I feel lightheaded or as if I might faint? Does my vision become blurred? So one of the things that we work with, like at our September 24th program, we're going to have stations where you actually would have risk assessments. And you may be able to find something like that going on in your local area. I think it starts September 21st is National Falls Awareness Week. So you may have groups putting on programs that would actually have some of these assessments. And these assessments help the healthcare providers determine your individual risk of falls, and they can recommend interventions such as exercise programs, home safety modifications, and medication adjustments. So we're going to talk about the four different risk assessments, and these are called STEADY, and they're from the CDC. So our first one is postural hypotension. So that's, I don't know if you've ever stood up and felt dizzy. That's what's going on. You have a blood pressure drop. So the test for that is the patient lies down, you measure the blood pressure and the pulse rate, they stand up, and you take your blood pressure. And a drop in blood pressure or experiencing lightheaded or dizziness is considered abnormal. Now, many times there's just an easy way to deal with this if this happens to you. If you're getting up out of bed, just don't jump out of bed. Sit up, put your feet on the floor, and wait a minute till you feel like you are grounded and ready to get up. Our other test that we do is the four-stage balance test. And this assesses balance with aggressively small base of support. So there are different standing positions that progressively get harder to maintain. And we then, for example, an older adult who cannot hold tandem stand for at least 10 seconds has an increased risk of falling. And so we might consider physical therapy for gait, balance exercises, refer them to programs such as Tai Chi. We have a regular balance class on Tuesday and Thursday afternoons. It involves balance and also strength. The timed up and go is one we use quite often, which is very simply sitting in a chair, holding your arms on your shoulders, and standing up from your chair up and down. This is timed up and go. I'm sorry. This is stand up in the chair, walk to a line on the floor at your normal pace, turn and walk back. And again, that is just gauging whether we identify a line of 10 feet away on the floor, and we look to see if you have a slow tentative pace, loss of balance, short strides, little or no arm swing, and other things that would indicate that you might be at a risk for falls. You know what? Hold on a minute. Let me make sure I can let Katie back in. Let's see if she's in the waiting room. Hold on. I don't see her. Okay. Just a second. Let me see if she's. Okay. I'll see if she can get back in. Our 30 seconds chair stand is actually one we're going to do in a few minutes. And this tests your leg strength and endurance. So if you have a strong leg strength, if you fall, then we have what you call, and if you've got the strength, if you fall, but you can recover, so you have power. It's not just strength, but the power to recover from a fall. So what this is you sit in the middle of a chair, as you can see at the example on the screen. You place your hands on opposite shoulders crossed. You keep your feet flat on the floor, back straight, and keep your arms against your chest. And on go, you stand up and then you sit down. And we time this for 30 seconds. So what we're going, oops, I just went back, it's too far. So actually, we are going to stop and take this test itself ourselves. And so let me do that. So let me go back to what it looks like. Just a second. Oh, there we go. So what I'm going to do is show this how to do. I'm not really good because again, I am on crutches because I'm having hip surgery soon, but you're going to put your arms, cross your arms. Now be sure you are in a chair without wheels because you don't want the chair to go back behind you. And if you feel comfortable in doing this, we will give it a whirl. And I can just set a timer for us. Hold on a second. Let me get my timer. Timer. There we go. Okay. We're going to go for 30 seconds. All right. So we're going to go. I'm going to count down from 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's all. There you go. Whoop. So what you're going to do is then record the number that you have. And if you look at the chart over here, it has by age and by gender. So if you are under, if let's say you're 70 to 74, if you're under 12 for a man, then you are at a risk for falling. You should be speaking with your doctor about this. If you're under 10 for a woman, the same issue. I see Katie. There she is. All right. So that's one of the tests that we do at our risk assessments. And again, you can go online tomorrow. We'll have this up on our site. And we also have these forms. So if you want to download those and see what interests you, you could try your sit to stand. Sometimes in our classes, we have sit to stand 30-day challenge. Take the classes for 30 days and let's see if you can't improve your sit to stand by 1 or 2 points, which means you're really improving. All right.
Okay, I'm back after
Yay!
restarting my computer. I'm so sorry.
That's okay, but now you can talk about what to do if you have fallen.
Very good. Okay. So again, this is a discussion that everybody should be having with their healthcare providers, ideally their primary care provider. They will ask you this question, hopefully anyway. Have you fallen in the past 12 months? Were you injured? Are you afraid that it will happen again? And there's no reason to hide this information. They can only help you. You know, if you've fallen, whether or not you hurt yourself, it's time to get the resources you need to figure out why you're falling and what you can do to prevent it.
Do you know, and so many of the times people ask us, or say to me, like I've had a knee replacement, so I don't know how to get up off the floor. Well,
Mm-hmm.
talk to your primary care physician and get a referral for physical therapy. That physical therapist can help you learn how to get up off the floor. They can teach you the
Mm-hmm.
techniques. So
Yep.
that assertive communication, that communication is really important.
Okay, so a lot of people ask, is there a way to fall safely? The short answer is yes. There are some ways that you can fall more safely in terms of mitigating injury while you're falling. However, if you're not exercising regularly, it's pretty unlikely that you're going to be able to change the mechanics of how you're falling in real time. And you may not have the strength, the reaction time, the flexibility to fall in a way that you're not going to injure yourself unless you're already exercising. So for people who are exercising and people who, have a pretty good sense of how their body moves, there are some things you can do in the middle of a fall to try to prevent an injury. So these 4 tips are stay loose and stay bent. People who tend to tense up tend to fall in one place. So you're more likely to have impact on just one part of your body, which makes it more likely that you might injure that part of your body. We talked about the prevalence of head injuries, brain injuries from falls. So tuck your head and look away from where you're falling to protect your head. Distribute the force throughout the softer parts of your body, the meat, as you will. So landing on your butt, on your thigh, not directly on bones, and trying to sort of continue to move. That's that keep falling portion, so that you distribute the force over more parts of your body rather than landing directly on one joint. So let's talk more about traumatic brain injury. So this is the result of either a direct impact to the head, or it could also be sort of a whiplash sort of phenomenon where your brain is shifting within your skull, and the impact of your brain against your skull is what's causing the injury to your brain tissue. So if you have fallen, whether or not you've directly hit your head or you think you had kind of a whiplash kind of moment to your head and neck, it's absolutely worth it to get your head checked out. And the tricky thing about head injuries is that they might not show up for the first few days after a fall or an injury on a CT scan. You might not have any signs of having an injury to your brain for a week, for 2 weeks even. What I've noticed a lot of patients will say is that their family has noticed something that they didn't notice themselves. So if you've had a fall, it's so important that you tell people, because other people may be able to notice something that you're not noticing in terms of a change in your personality, your communication, your memory, your problem solving and reasoning skills. So have to talk to someone to help look for those signs that it's time to go to the hospital, or maybe even go back to the hospital if nothing was noticed on imaging initially. So here are some images of how that brain injury can happen. And concussion is basically a brain injury that doesn't show up on imaging. So we know that something's happened to the brain, but we might not see it on a CT scan. So the most common symptoms of a concussion are headache or pressure in the head. Temporary loss of consciousness is a pretty good sign that you might have had a concussion. Confusion or feeling as if you're in a fog. Amnesia around the event. So not only loss of consciousness, but not remembering events immediately prior to or after the fall. Dizziness or seeing spots or other changes in your vision. Ringing in your ears. Nausea, vomiting, slurred speech, delayed response to questions. Feeling as if you're in a daze, or someone else sort of, remarking on the fact that you look like you're in a daze. And undue fatigue. Those are the most common signs of a brain injury or a concussion.
And I think that with brain injuries, you just have to think about, yes, I get it. You don't want to go to the hospital, but the issue is you cannot diagnose a brain injury. Nobody
Correct.
can, except when you go to the hospital, your doctor will order the proper tests, and that's the only way to diagnose it. And the results or the consequences of not treating a brain injury just can be death or disability, or it's really traumatic.
Mhm. Absolutely right. So some bad habits that can increase your chance of falling. We all develop bad habits, every single one of us, myself included. And the goal is to sort of identify what those behaviors are that we're doing that are increasing our risk for falls. Choosing a few that we think we can modify and implementing simple solutions to avoid potentially dangerous situations. So let's talk about what those habits might be.
Does anybody want to, let me make sure I can let you unmute. I think I can. Hold on just a second. Let me go to my tools. Yeah, you can unmute yourself if you'd like to discuss some of your habits. I think one of the things we try to emphasize things like get rid of the flip-flops, wearing, if you want to wear sandals, get sandals that have straps on the back or fit really well to your feet, so your foot is well anchored into the sole of the shoe, but dump it. Yeah, oh yeah, and Shelley said shuffling your feet while walking. Right, that's a really big. We talk a lot about. We have a program about gait and not shuffling, and shuffling just can so easily result in tripping.
Mhm. My bad habit is carrying like 18 bags in my arms at once. So I have no way of, stabilizing myself if I need to, if I trip.
Sorry, yeah, that's really true. If you can always consider the fact that you should have one hand free. And just look at it this way. You need more steps during the day. So going back and forth to your car a couple of times, just make it part of your step program.
That's right.
Yeah.
We had a comment about hidden objects on the paths in the garden. Yeah, I mean, tripping hazards. My mom was trying to make a point to my brother recently because he was leaving his stuff all over the house. So she was just letting it collect and she ended up tripping over one of them. I'm like, of course you did. Just pick it up. Don't try to make that point to him. Have him pick up his own things.
Well, and rolling up the hose.
Hmm.
It's very easy, to leave the hose out there or just in the house having have newspapers. Get a basket, throw
Hmm.
newspapers in a basket because you can slip on those newspapers very easily. Right now, getting in and out of the shower for me, I have to be very, very careful, using grab bars, just taking your time and not, I just, at this age, you got to quit multitasking.
Hmm.
Yeah, climbing ladders and step stools, that's really true. So, Mario said, "Oh, I have a lot of friends who are falling and then end up in rehab or nursing homes. The only way to prevent that is to start an exercise program today. Honestly,
And maybe modify some of the unsafe things in the house that are leading to falls too.
true. Yeah, I was speaking with several of our EMS programs here in Santa Fe are have they will actually come in and help with the home. So if you have issues like you need grab bars or other things, you might check with your local fire department and see if they have what we call them here is the mobile integrated health unit. And they will actually come out and do some assessments on your home. That is a really big help because you look around and you go, yeah, I kind of know it needs to be done. But if somebody comes in here and says, hey, I can help you with that, that's a big, big help.
Get
And
rid of area rugs. I love that, Cynthia. That's absolutely true. Yeah,
you know what so many people here collect, the Navajo rugs and they're very, very attached to them. I say, great, hang them on the wall.
exactly.
They're beautiful wall art. Let's just go with that.
Hmm.
Yeah. So the importance of exercising, it really is life-saving. Um, the importance of exercise and preventing falls. What are the barriers to exercise? identifying which exercises are best for fall prevention, and then creating a daily exercise routine. Like we said, the CDC does recommend 150 minutes a week in exercise. We have programs that are just chair exercise programs. Doing something every week, multiple times a week is very important. Safety tips, when, of course, obviously check with your physician before you start a program. Get their idea about how much you should be doing, what kind of exercises. They may have some programs in your local area to refer you to. Don't hold your breath during strength exercises. Use safety equipment if you're biking, or your helmet. Drink plenty of fluids during physical activity. We'll talk about dehydration later on. It can cause dizziness and can lead to a fall. Dehydration can also be a factor in falling. Warm up your muscles before you exercise. Endurance. So we talk about endurance, and that's trying to build up 30 minutes of activity that makes you breathe hard on most days of the week. So walking, dancing, biking. I find that gardening is quite an exercise because I'm just getting up and down from down and up and down and up, and I can really feel it the next day as to how many times I've forced my body to get up from the ground. It's really a good endurance program. Strength builds muscles. And even though as we age, we do lose muscle, it can be regained by exercising. And strength exercises are super important. We're not talking about major weights. We're talking about 2 to 3 to 5 pounds of exercise weight. Really important, will help you gain those muscles, regain those muscles. Flexibility, oh boy. Stretching can improve your flexibility, and like a gentle yoga or a stretch class. Our classes are all taught by instructors that are over 70. So we're not trying to give you, we're not doing burpees. We're not doing, add 10 pounds to this strength training. We're trying to just keep moving, keep flexible, build that flexibility, build that endurance, and build that strength. Balance, very simple exercises. This is one of those things that if you start doing a balance exercise class and take it 2 or 3 times a week, in 4 weeks, your balance will be greatly improved. You'll really see an improvement in a very short period of time. It takes concentration, it takes dedication, but it really can be done. So mindset, when I started working with the Department of Health on fall prevention, there was no real mention about mindset or communication so much. And we're really bringing that into our program because it really is about your lifestyle and how you want to live. So mindset, attitude, belief, demeanor, disposition. How does this relate to fall prevention? It's because good communication with your family and doctors can help you express yourself effectively while respecting the rights and beliefs of others. So if you go to your doctor's not a mind reader. Your primary care physician or their PA is not a mind reader, and you can tell them succinctly what's going on. I had a fall, or I almost fell. I'm feeling dizzy. You've changed my medication. Could this be causing problems? I never go to my doctor without a list of my questions. And I make sure I hold that in my hand, whether it's be on my phone or a piece of paper. And we go through all of those questions before I leave. And it's not disrespectful of their time, it's respectful of my life. So always feel like this is your life, and how do you want to live it? So other risk factors, Katie?
So let's talk about medications and falls. Anne was just mentioning how important it is to talk to your doctor about medications. No risk factor for falls is potentially preventable or reversible as medication use. So 81% of older adults use at least one prescription drug. And I would say that's probably a similar number across the lifespan. It's pretty rare that someone's not taking a medication on a regular basis. 49% of older adults also use at least one dietary supplement. And 25% of older adults use at least 5 prescription medications concurrently with non-prescription drugs. So we're talking about the word polypharmacy, 5 medications or more. And there are a lot of different ways those medications can interact, even with supplements.
Yeah, I think that's really the key thing. Now, fortunately, in so many cases, a lot of places use my chart, and there is kind of a central location so the doctor can see the different medications you're taking. But I mean, Katie, you've worked with people, and I have too, who have like 4 different pharmacies where they go to for their drugs.
Right.
And
Yeah, or you've got 4 different specialists all prescribing different medications without talking to each other.
right, right. Or you could take a situation, and this is called assertive and being responsible. My cousin's wife they couldn't diagnose what was wrong with her. They were seriously considering having to remodel out their entire house because she could not walk, she could not function, and she'd never told her doctor that she was swilling Pepto-Bismol and she had bismuth poisoning.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that horrible?
Yeah.
I mean, so when they ask you if you're taking supplements, please tell them anything that you're taking. I even kind of list my teas because I have like different teas that I take and they could be reacting to things. So
Mhm.
just list them. I mean, if somebody has a concern, listen to it. It may or may not be something you want to change, but that is also, you're right, but it's really good to know that information.
Mhm. So vision, again, vision is the sense that adults rely on the most to know where their body is in space. So it's really important that you get your eyes checked every year, just like you should go see your primary care physician every year. You may not even realize that your vision's getting a little worse until you go to the eye doctor, and they may just tweak your prescription a little bit if you do wear glasses or contacts, and that might be all that needed to happen. And it can really make a difference in your balance for sure.
Yeah, I think if you want to try that out, if you're standing on one foot and do this only if you're holding on to something else, and you're standing on one foot and you close your eyes and see how long you can do that. You will really it's difficult. So
Mhm.
if you want to know how important your vision is, just try that.
That's right. So there's more research too coming out about hearing and how it contributes to fall prevention or your risk for falls. So again, your vestibular system is usually thought of as the structure in your inner ear. It's also connected to your hearing. So people who have hearing loss can also have vestibular loss. So you might be starting to lose your hearing and not realizing that it's also impacting your balance. The other thing with hearing is that it keeps us more engaged in the world around us. And we know that there's also now a connection between dementia and fall risk, as well as dementia and hearing loss. So the more sensory input we have, the better we are in general, especially as we age. So getting hearing aids when you start to lose your hearing, getting a hearing exam, just like you get an eye exam every year, is super important as well. And then footwear. So we've had a lot of questions that are very specific about, is this shoe good? Is this shoe good? The general recommendation is that whether you're inside or outside, you're wearing supportive, well-fitting, low-heeled, non-slip shoes, especially if you have sensory problems in your feet. I had to learn the hard way moving from Michigan to New Mexico that you don't walk around barefoot outside anymore here. So I'm very good about wearing shoes now. If, again, Anne mentioned if you want to wear sandals, wear something with a heel strap on the back. I've had 2 patients in the last month here in rehab who tripped in flip-flops on their stairs. So make sure that you've got a shoe that's going to connect to the bottom of your foot at all times while you're walking. And the lower the heel, the more supportive the base, usually the better your balance will be.
And what I've gotten again with this issue, I'm a kind of a big Hoka fan, but Hoka didn't make a slip on, so I kind of shopped around and found some really good really good thick soled slip-on tennis shoes, and they look great. And it's good
Hmm.
because it really does, I love that stability that it gives me. And I really feel a lot more confident. Even I don't usually walk around in the house with shoes on, but now I'm wearing shoes just because it gives me a lot more stability.
Yeah. And slips are another common cause of falls. So, if you're wearing a shoe that's pretty grippy on the bottom, even if there's a little spill on the floor that you didn't see, you're less likely to slip on that spill if you're wearing a shoe or a non-slip sock at the very least on your feet.
Yeah, yeah, I know that that good solid sole really makes a big difference. Things have really come along in the last number of years where the soles have gotten wider and thicker, and they really
Mhm.
give you a lot of good base to walk on and to control
Mhm.
your gait. Yeah.
There was a comment in the chat about feeling less steady in thick soled shoes. Anytime you switch up your footwear, you're going to feel weird for a while. It's going to just change the way you walk a little bit. It's going to change the way you feel the ground underneath you. So I would just recommend don't make a giant change in your footwear. If you've been wearing the same kind of shoe for a long time and it works for you, don't feel the need to switch it up. If you're going to try a new shoe, just know that it's going to feel a little weird for a while. And if you like it eventually, great. And if not, you probably made too big of a change in your footwear.
And I think the hardest thing too is so many of us we get used to just buying things online, and this
Hmm.
is probably something you need to go to if you really are committed to this, going to a store and trying on a number of shoes because, like I said, I just mentioned Hoka, but Hoka has like a line that's probably they probably have 15 or 20 different types of shoes with different feels to their sole, and they're for different activities. So you really want to go and try those on. So I think that's really a good idea.
Hmm.
Yeah. Somebody
Yeah,
said
that's
about
yeah.
grounding. I love going barefoot. I don't see anything wrong with it. I mean, if I'm sitting in a chair and I'm exercising and I'm doing ankle rotations and things like that, I don't need shoes.
Right.
It's great. And I mean walking around, but right now because I'm a little bit unstable, wearing a thicker sole or even around the house makes me feel more comfortable. Yeah.
And the other consideration there is that a lot of the shoe recommendations are for people who have sensory issues in their feet. So one of the big worries with not wearing shoes in the house, if you have sensory problems, especially related to diabetes, if you step on something that hurts your skin, you may not realize it. So we have a lot of people who end up developing wounds on their feet because they didn't realize that they had hurt their foot, they'd hurt their skin, and those wounds can get infected and they can get out of control quickly. So especially for people with sensory issues, to protect your skin, footwear is really important. Like I said, slips are more likely to occur if you're not wearing a non-slip sock or a shoe. Not to say, you should always wear shoes in the house per se. If you've got good sensation, good ankle control, good foot control. A lot of people do yoga and they do other exercise like Anne mentioned barefoot, and that's great. But if you have issues with your foot or ankle stability, you're better off wearing a shoe in the house.
Yeah, I think this is our longest discussion on footwear, but I think it's
Mhm.
getting to be it's more coming to the surface about one of those things that could really um, just make you more confident in your walking. It really is.
Yeah, thanks for those comments, everybody. So we're talking about hydration. So 8 glasses of water a day, and I've also heard some things like 1 ounce for 50% of your body weight. So like divide your body weight by two, and that's how many ounces of water you should drink a day. I think the goal is just to drink throughout the day. Some people talk about being worried about having to go to the bathroom too many times at night, and that's totally a legitimate concern. If so, try to stop drinking water, maybe 5, 6 p.m. so that you're not butting up into your going to bed time, still drinking a lot of water, but try to make it an all day thing. Mix it up, throw some flavor in your water if you need to. I know a lot of people don't love the taste of water. Sparkling water, soda, as long as it's not with a ton of sugar, can help you stay hydrated. But water creates blood volume, creates good blood pressure, usually. So if you're not suffering from super high blood pressure, staying hydrated throughout the day will help keep your blood pressure regular, which can help not make you feel like you're going to faint, which is a good thing.
Hey, Katie, so there's a lot of discussion on everything right now about electrolyte water, and
Mhm.
what do you think about that?
I think it's great. Especially if you have kidney issues as you get older, electrolyte balance becomes really tricky. So you can drink too much water in those circumstances to the point where you flush out your electrolytes. So some of the same symptoms of dehydration that are listed on that screen can also be symptoms of having too little electrolytes in your blood. So having water infused with electrolytes can help keep that in balance. If you're dealing with kidney issues, especially if you're seeing a nephrologist, then you're going to want to talk to them about how much water you should be drinking and whether you should supplement with electrolytes. But in general, especially if it's not spiking your blood sugar, I think it's a great thing to consider throwing into the mix.
Hey, so this summer I've gotten it kind of making my own homemade electrolyte water. And so I take a big blender and I throw in about maybe a cup and a half of strawberries. And I have this wonderful ginger hot spicy syrup from Portland Syrups and a couple of limes or lemons, about a heaping teaspoon of salt, and then fill it up with water and ice. And it's like 48 ounces. And it's
Delicious.
so refreshing and delicious. And it costs almost nothing. I mean, it really is amazing. And it really, I can drink that whole thing in one day. And I'm like, I don't even, sometimes you do just get bored with water. And
Hmm.
mix it up like that just makes it so much fun. So today I actually have some cantaloupe. So I'm going to try a cantaloupe
Oh, yeah.
electrolyte. So, and I have mint out in the yard, so I'm gonna like try to mix up a little cantaloupe and mint as a kind of a afternoon drink.
Sounds great.
To make it different. I mean, you don't have to stick with water. That really can get really boring. I mean, make yourself a big, Katie, hold up that's like 48. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
even says villages on it.
It is right. And I do that around all the time. And then later on in the afternoon, if it's summertime, I'll make an herbal tea. And if it's maybe different, I'll make like a hot tea and put it in there. So you really just keep it going. It's really good and make it convenient. If it's inconvenient, you're not going to do it.
Hmm.
So home safety, talking about clear the clutter. Light it up. Light it up, I think, is one of the easiest things you can do and very inexpensive and really can prevent falls. Hold the rails, cut the skids, toss the throw rugs, and we call move it where you use it. So if you're in your kitchen and you're constantly reaching up way up overhead to get your blender down or whatever you want to use, move it down to where you use it. That's great. Don't be getting on your knees to dig something out of the cabinet that you're using on a daily basis. There are not that many things that you use, and so move it where you use it. Also online tomorrow in the blog, we'll have this list, which is the AARP home safety checklist. So you can go through, the steps and the floor surfaces and things in your kitchen. And just maybe one afternoon, just take a gander and look through your house, make some checks and what you have to have done. Again, if you're having problems around your house and you need some help, I would check with your local fire department. Don't call 911, call the local, or just stop by. Our group does have a mobile integrated health unit that will come out and do home assessments. So take a look at that. I'm a gadget person. I'm the gadget person. So one of the big things I talk about, motion detector lights. It used to be that motion detector lights, you had to either plug them in or, put them in an electrical outlet somewhere. But now, so many of the motion detector lights are battery operated and they're LED. And LED battery operated means these batteries last between 8 to 12 months, which is phenomenal. The ones on the left-hand side are circles. They're about this big around. They come 4 to a pack on Amazon. I think they're 6 to a pack now. And they're like $15. They are stick-on or magnetic. So I actually have them in multiple places, particularly on the stairs, because at night I don't want to turn on the big light over the stairwell. but I have these going up and down my stairs. So as I go up the stairs or down the stairs, they light up every other step. That's really great. I have them in my bathroom. I have them in my garage. The picture is there's a little step at the bottom. I have one of those round ones there. I have a little step there, so I know where that step is. And then up by the door, there's the brighter light that shows me, where the entrance to the door is, where all the light switches are for the garage. Because in the garage, you have that, the garage door opener has a light, but it's not nearly bright enough. There's also this wonderful bed light, and it is a strip that is very thin, and it goes around about half the length of your bed, underneath your bed, and it has a motion detector to it. So as you get out of bed, you can either put your foot down or wave your hand, and the light will come on underneath your bed. And you can put a timer on that, so however long you want it to go on. So instead of turning on a bright light and disturbing your sleep, it's a very low light. I think all of these are way under $20 or less. You can get them on Amazon. All you have to do is just go to Amazon and search on motion detector lights. You will have hundreds of different variety to pick from. Again, in my house, I have both the stick-on and the plug-ins. The plug-ins I use in the bathrooms because it's just it's convenient. On the right-hand side, we're talking about assistive devices. Around here, people use trekking poles. We're right up against all the national forests. People are always out walking in the forest, but also downtown, you're going to see people with trekking poles, and they can really help you stay stable while you're walking. I have a pair in my car and I leave them there. If I'm getting out and having to go up and down stairs, I'll probably use those. We talk about what happens. I live alone. What happens if I fall and let's say I hit my head and I'm knocked unconscious? I do have an Apple Watch, which has fall detection. You do have to have an iPhone to work with the Apple Watch, but this is, at this point, none of the Android programs or Android watches have this function. And it can detect a hard fall and help you connect with emergency services. And that is, it not only dials, so let's say you fall. It's going to come on, it's going to show this alert. I see you've taken a hard fall, emergency call, or I'm okay. Now, if you hit okay, that's great. If you are, for example, unconscious and you do not hit I am okay, it will call emergency services. It will also call everyone who is on your medical ID alert on your phone. So not only do emergency services get notified, but my friends get notified that something happened as well, and my daughter. It's quite and the good thing about it is I know I've had friends who've said, yeah, my kids bought me one of those things to hang around my neck, and it's in my nightstand over there. But with your Apple Watch, you're really going to have a tendency to wear it. I really encourage something like this. So what to do if you fall? Stay calm and be assertive. When you fall in front of people, I know you've seen this, the first thing, people rush over and try to get you up. And that's not what you want to have happen. You want to take time to assess your situation, even if you're on the street. If you're on the street and people want to help you, just say, just don't let me get run over, stop it, just protect me from that. Check for injuries, breaks, sprains, blood. Take a few minutes to check your body for any pain or injuries. Did you hit your head? Did you lose consciousness? Call 911 or have somebody call 911 for you. Because if you have hit your head and you've lost consciousness, you really do need to go to the hospital and have that checked out. So we are finished with our presentation. We would love to have you if you would like to join our free classes. You're welcome to pick up this Welcome to Wellness Pass. It's on our website. It's 5 classes monthly, you choose. We also have a video library you can access, and it's valid for 12 months. So join us. We'd love to have you. And we thank you for participating, and we thank you to our sponsors, which is CHRISTUS, AERP, Las Campanas Community Fund, and Ancorum St. Vincent. So if you'd like to unmute, we would love to have you have comments. Somebody asked, we don't have any certificate. I mean, if you need something, let me know and I could send you an email. That'd be great. And oh, somebody said, yeah, they put their those pod lights up. They're wonderful. They're really good. Yeah. Let's see. We have we're talking about shoes again. There we go. Yeah, everybody has their own like brand of shoes that they love. So if you'd like to ask any questions or have any comments, please just unmute yourself.
Yeah, and I was wondering if is there any way you could send us those recipes for those electrolyte drinks?
I'll- Listen, it's so much fun. I'll let you know how the cantaloupe goes this afternoon too. Okay. Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'll put it in the blog. I'll just put Anne's recipe for electrolytes. The strawberries right now, but the one thing that I do love, there's a company in Portland called the Portland Syrup Company, and they make a spicy ginger. It's kind of like a simple syrup,
Uh-huh.
and I add it to everything.
It
But
sounds good.
you don't have to use it in there. You could forego that, but it really is. And ginger's good. I mean, ginger helps with your,
With everything.
yeah, with
Sounds
everything. Yeah,
good. Yeah,
yeah.
it sounds really good. It sounds really good. So this email villages of Santa Fe.org is where you connect to get to your classes?
Yeah, if actually it's Villages of Santa Fe, our website.
Yeah, that's it, right?
Yeah, Villages of Santa info is our email, but if you can go to Villages, then you can click on the blogs, or actually it'll be on the homepage probably Thursday morning. Or if you want the wellness pass, it's on there right now. You can just click on it and you just sign up immediately. There's no charge, no credit card, no nothing.
Wow, okay, great. Thank you. Thank you. And this was
Yeah.
really good. This was really good. I I wish I could have had all my friends watch it, but the ones that really need it are in rehab or have fallen already, so
Well, the recording will be up again Thursday and they can watch it. And then we'll have another one in February. I'm sorry, November, right. And yes, you can join if you live out of state. We have people from all over the United States. We'd love to have you. You do that.
Is the bed light available? Do you know where that can be purchased?
Where what?
Bed light,
Oh, I would just go to Amazon and just Google on and just search on motion detector lights.
motion detector? Okay.
Yeah, and then you can pick if you want to have battery operated or plug in. If you want, like in my garage, I don't really care that they look all that nice, but in my bathroom, I like them to look a little nicer. So, it depends on how cheap I'm feeling at the moment, if I want to buy just the package of 6 or the plug-ins.
I'm
And
looking at the bed lights that specifically for that one, for the
yeah,
around your bed.
yeah, the bed light will show up too there. You can, motion detector light, you could just search on motion detector bed light. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Well, thank you all for attending. We really appreciate you being here. We will have the recording up probably by Thursday morning. It'll be, just go to our site, villagesofsantafe.org, and just scroll down the page. It'll be in the blog. And again, the steady risk assessments will be there and some recipes if I get them up there right away. All right. And thank you, Katie. Good to see you.
Thank you all, and I apologize as always for my technological difficulties.
Hey, tell Russell to kind of get it together here,
We
okay?
need some internet down in this basement, I tell you what.
Well, they don't let you out much,
They sure don't.
All right, thanks, everybody. We appreciate your attendance.
Thank you.